Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Monday, a partly cloudy and almost rainy day here in Phoenix, about 59, 60 degrees. It is the 30th day of January, 2023, and I have a question for you from R.C. Sproul in today's Bible Bits. More or less, are you passionate about your faith? Many of us make a profession of faith. Oh yeah, I like Jesus, I'll stand up, I'll go to the altar. Yeah, but there's no substance. There's no sincerity. There's no drive. Tomorrow you forget about it. Let's hear what R.C. Sproul has to say. I think this will be stirring for you.
Are you serious about your faith? Is it a consuming passion for you to serve Christ? If it isn't, you're just playing. It's not the real thing. Jesus said, if that's the way it is, you just can't be my disciple.
And that's pretty much what he said. That if you're not serious about going all out for Jesus, well then there's no reason to go in the first place. And he talks about Bonhoeffer's
this abortion lead Adolf Hitler
Bonhoeffer's
being involved in that. It has become something of a Christian classic entitled The Cost of Discipleship. And in that little book that Bonhoeffer wrote in the 20th century, he invented the term cheap grace, which is equated with the concept of what we call easy believism, where people say, oh, sure, I want to be a Christian. Yes, I'll make a confession of faith. I believe that God forgives me of my sins. It reminds you of the story I think I mentioned before that John Barrows taught of a woman who came down there to the women's center to have an abortion. She had a fish on her car and all of that. And John said to her, are you a Christian? And she said, yes. But I'm going to have this abortion because I know that Jesus will forgive me. Imagine how presumptuous that is, to sin willfully and knowingly, presuming
before you do
on the grace of
God.
That's cheap grace. Easy believism, which isn't true faith.
And then he speaks about his own conversion in college, where he started to read the Bible and how it horrified him.
At all, to Christ, and began to read the Bible for the first time in my life. I started reading through the Old Testament, beginning at Genesis 1 like it was a novel. And I was staying reading day and night for 2 weeks to read through the Bible. And I can remember walking the halls of my dormitory in college at 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else was sound asleep. There wasn't a sound in the building. I couldn't sleep. I was walking back and forth like a caged lion, haunted by what I was reading in the Old Testament. The flood, the destruction of Korah and Korah's rebellion, God's killing Nadab and Abihu, killing Uzzah when he touched the Ark of the Covenant, instituting the harem against the Canaanites, killing men, women, and children. And I walked like this lion saying, this God plays for keeps. If I'm going to be a Christian, I've got to be all in.
And people don't take God seriously.
Or get out of here. That was my maiden impression of the revelation of the person and character and nature of Almighty God. That he plays for keeps.
He certainly did.